That's Miss Ellie, and that's the camp. It really, it's really like a condo on wheels, and we've been so blessed to have such a thing. We really have. So let's take Miss Ellie for a walk, and I'll give you some morning musings. These are the beautiful mountains of which my wife knows the name of, surrounding the town of Lordsburg. Lordsburg was a bustling little community years ago before I-10 came through and it destroyed the town. Even lucky enough to have Lindbergh land here back in the day. But it's not Fort Stockton depressed, but it's a depressed community. They have their own PD, which I found interesting. So did Fort Stockton, for that matter. But there was an observation by a friend of mine, who shall remain nameless, Anthony, and he had an observation about this community. He goes, "What are you going to do here? Because it looks terrible." And I go, "Well, basically we base out of areas geographically and then travel." Yesterday was a shining example of it. We went 3 hours out, 2 hours through the mountains in the Gila National Forest. It's gorgeous. One of the most gorgeous drive since going through the Appalachians. I mean, maybe even more so. But yeah, we enjoyed our trip to the Gila National Park cliff dwellings, where we saw proto-man some 3,000 years ago, enjoying being in the relative safety of a high mountain cave. Really neat. Today we're going to go back to a town called Silver City and enjoy walking around their historic district. And that's about an hour away. So basically, we spot ourselves, for lack of better terms, geographically. Good girl. And then orbit around there, if that makes sense. We travel from 150 to 250, 300 miles a day. And as I've mentioned many times before, I love traveling, but I dislike driving. Although I'll say this, when you're driving with this type of background, I mean, it takes the sting out of driving. It really does. So, yeah. KOAs, they're like the Red Lobster of campgrounds. They're consistently good to okay. This is, I've mentioned before, the KOA Journey, which is code for, you probably don't want to stay here. And you have the KOA Destination Parks, called KOA Holiday, and it has all the stuff for kids. This has just a few things for kids. Pool doesn't open until May. But you have a relatively secure place. My friend also mused. He says, "I'd just stay at Walmart." Well, you can. My rig is big, and that poses a number of problems. There's several dynamics going on. One of them is that Walmart, a combination of Walmart and cities, do not want you parking in their parking lots anymore. The Yahoo factor has occurred where folks are spreading out their mats and putting out their awnings and staying for a week. And yeah, you can't have that. That level of liability is crazy. The other thing is I really value personal security in my equipment, and you know, that thing out there costs as much as a house. I don't want anything bad happening to it at all. So there's a level of security here at KOA where there's a dude, at least one dude here, plus your fellow campers. They're not going to let anything happen either. Now, I flew out to that hill this morning. That was 7,400 feet, my furthest flight to date. But yeah, in review, sometimes we end up in spots, and we know that what they are. You know, we look ahead of time and find that they're negligible on things to do locally. And we use them as a base to base out of. I don't mind driving jaunts like yesterday. It was a long day. But Jesus, what a beautiful opportunity to go. You know, tomorrow is our last full day here, and we'll be heading to Tucson, Arizona, which is only 150 miles away. A short hop. We have all the time in the world, and we just take our time and go where we want to go. And you know, there's worse scenery than these beautiful mountains around the KOA. Ellie approves. She approves of everything. Some days we can take her and some days we can't. Yesterday was a day that we couldn't. So what I did was I left the air conditioners on the rig, and I have an auto gen start system. And if power is lost here, it'll turn the generator on and run the air conditioner for 10 hours, or actually 18 hours if the tanks were full, but enough time for us to get back. Basically, that thing is a giant car, and it heats up quick. I don't even trust that auto gen start deal, but we shall see. Lovely, lovely rig. Lovely, lovely dog. We carry her with us everywhere we can, and sometimes it's not appropriate. Dogs are like cats. They literally sleep 16 hours a day. So I'll carry her out, and we will roughhouse and play in the morning until she's wore out and her tongue's hanging out. And then she comes home to sleep. And when we get home every day, she's sleeping, which is really funny. She's usually sleeping on my bed, by the way. Hashtag full of sand. Alright, well, that was the musings for Friday, the 18th. Yeah, having a blast, and God has been so kind to allow us to enjoy this. A lot of things have to happen for us to be able to go for 9 months. Much love to my relatives that are so kind to look out after each other. And, well, there you have it.